have never desired your good opinion.
People fear what they do not understand.
I have a headache, a badge, and a gun.
Power is yours.
Behave.
I was just trying to start a conversation.
And share the wonders I've seen.
Hi, and welcome back to The Wonders I've Seen, where there's no such thing as weird or normal, there's just different. I'm your host, Tanagra. Today we'll be discussing the latest release in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, The Wasp. Okay, JK. Ant-Man's there too. I'm joined by our guest, Ariel. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
So, Ariel, what's your liquid nourishment for the day?
I'm just sticking to water. It's too hot.
Actually, yeah, ditto on that. I just have water, so stay hydrated out there, folks. Alright, let's get into it. First, let's start real basic. Thumbs up or thumbs down for this film?
Thumbs up.
Okay, good deal. Thumbs up for me, too. Alright, so what makes you give it a thumbs up? I mean, there was a lot crammed in here. I think it was done very well, but they had a lot of themes that were running throughout the entire film. I felt like there weren't a lot of loose ends besides the standard Marvel ones. But what for you really stood out?
I think it's like the first movie that it's
Wait, the first Ant-Man film or the
first
Marvel
Ant-Man film?
Sorry, right.
The first
I gotta
Ant-Man
ask.
film.
Okay.
You can tell it's from the same director, the same vibe. It's all about enjoyable family movie, a fun summer movie, and it's working. I mean, I can't say I was always laughing out loud at every joke, but there's just this, I don't have any other word than just a fun moment. It's just 2 hours that are enjoyable, and that's about it. And sometimes it's enough.
No, I actually would really agree with that. I felt it was a tight story. It was a nice sort of like reprieve from the epicness, I feel, of the last Avengers film. Because, I mean, Marvel's pushing these out on a regular basis, so they have to really watch that. Don't have everything end with people disappearing into nothingness. Like, yeah, I love that this was a family film. I feel like this is family the way that Deadpool is not. And I think it keeps that family film and it shows a variety of families, but it doesn't sacrifice any of the other storytelling to focus on the family element. Like, the families are there doing stuff together. I love the fact that Hank Pym is... Ooh, did I say... Like, Hank Pym and then... I just call him Paul Rudd.
Scott Lang.
I just call him Paul Rudd. I was like, sorry, yeah. Scott Lang. I love the fact that, like, they're these caring dads who have these strong relationships with their daughters, and they're not perfect, but, like, they're trying.
And we have a third dad in the mix now.
Yes.
With Lawrence Fishburne's character.
Yes.
Who, with his adoptive daughter.
Yeah. Right. So I love that. Because I also don't feel like you get that in any other of the other Marvel films. They're very just much like, we are heroes, we are young, attractive people who beat up people and save the world and the universe. And this is a very, like, in some ways a very everyday story. Like, all of the drama in this movie is literally around them trying to bring the other Wasps back.
All those families trying to stick together.
Yes.
I don't want to make a bad pun, but you touched on it, and it's a smaller scale. I know, bad pun, because it's Ant-Man.
Yeah. No. I'm gonna allow it. Yeah.
It is, and it, like you said, it's refreshing after the huge scale of Avengers movie and galactic stuff. This is very centered. It's not even about saving the world from a bad person. It's just a very centered story around this group of people. Even the villains who are... Well, like, some are villains, but not really. Like, the main antagonist it's complicated, and they all have the same goals. In a way, they make it complicated because from the get-go, Ava had been like, "Can I help you find Janet?" And then Janet can help me. There would be the story, but
no,
but that's about it.
Yeah, but even that, I sort of went for it because I was like, you know what, this woman has literally been dying since she was a child, and you're gonna be like, let's save this old woman who's been alive for 30 plus years and has had her entire life over her. I gotta admit, like, when I heard Ava and she's like, we don't know if she can help me, and I'm dying in a couple of days, so I'm gonna kill everybody so I can survive, I was like, you know what, I get it. I get it.
I get it too, although I was like, it's convenient you're dying just when they're trying to find Janet when they thought she was dead for 3 decades.
Obviously they're all what was the word they used? Intertwined,
I did not, but it's a better word.
Yeah, exactly. Like, obviously they're all intertwined, which I feel will be interesting if they if that sort of plays out later, like Scott and Michelle Pfeiffer and Ava, like all being, because they've all been to the same like level, and then now the doctor has as well,
and they're all scientists, because
except for Scott.
I'm sorry, I can't remember Lawrence Fishburne's Bill. This character was Bill, but Bill is not technically family, but he's an old associate, and he's also a scientist. And it's like this entire group of scientists and sort of related friends and boyfriends and whatnot. So it's a very tight group.
Right. But I like that because we're always seeing like, and then the aliens come from outer space. And then we blow up so and so and so. And this, it was like, nah, man, this family wants to stay together. There's this sort of petty criminal who's like an informant for the FBI, who's like trying to steal the tech. And you're like, dude, just go away. And I sort of love the fact that like Evangeline Lilly's character, she's just like, this guy again? Okay, F it. I'm just gonna like, I'm gonna deal with this. Like, while I'm gonna save my parents, I'm also just gonna deal with him. And I just sort of love the way that they resolved it. Like, yeah, he's a nuisance, so you get rid of the nuisance. That was it.
That's exactly what it is. Even Ava in her own way, you can't even say like, you can pinpoint and say that's our main villain, although we always try to simplify things and say, this is our hero, this is our villain. And here's like, no, they just have a bunch of obstacles coming up at the same time. Yeah. And they're not all the same level. Like you said, there are some, the real bad guys are just really like secondary.
Yeah, which I sort of like, because I liked this, I felt like this was sort of a reminder that, like, one, the Marvel Universe is supposed to be about a sense of family, and we haven't been getting that, and I feel like the Avengers films are trying to get back to that, but that has always been sort of, that was the core of the last Ant-Man film, and I think it's the core of this one, and I like that at least they're sort of strengthening that here, and not only did they like double down on the idea of family, but they also grew the family, and that they did add Lawrence Fishburne and character Bill and Ava to this family now. And I thought that was, I love that scene where she's like, just leave me, I've hurt people, and he's like, no, like, just,
yeah, no, we're family,
right? And it was such a short scene, but it was a good one, and it was a necessary one, you know?
Yeah.
So I liked that, or the fact that, right, they're all scientists, so it's not superpowers doing anything. Like, yeah, sure, they've learned to train and all that, but ultimately it was literally just science, like, that saved everybody.
And I love how there was no straight up morality, like their interactions to Bill and Ava. It was, I'm helping you, maybe sometimes I'm gonna kidnap somebody, but then I have limits. It's like, no, don't go after a child.
Right.
Or there was this back and forth of, we're doing something a little bit bad, but not too bad. Like, we are selfish, but we're not immoral people.
Yes,
we're still
definitely
good people at heart. And it was very much the father figure trying to set up limits to his child.
Right, no, which I really liked. And then I loved that we got the scene, like, a very similar scene with, like, a young child who'd been suffering all her life that we get in Ava, who, like, as an adult, we see that process. And then you get, like, I keep calling her little cute baby one in my mind. Cassie.
Is it Cassie?
Cassie, who, like, you can see, I keep wanting to just call him Paul Rudd, but you keep seeing Scott.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
I know it's Scott, but you see Scott trying to, like, sort of make up, like, because you have all of these adult women who have these father figures around them who have in some way not necessarily failed them, but, like, scarred them, which all parents do no matter how hard they try. And then you get to see Scott who's, like, trying not to do that. Like, yeah, I'm a criminal, but I'm trying to be a good dad. Yeah, I want to help my friends, but I don't want to hurt you. And, like, just telling his daughter, like, I'm trying, and seeing her, like, understand that. And I really like that sort of juxtaposition of, like, the adoptive father, the biological father, and then, like, sort of like the young new father, all trying to, like, raise their daughters and be there and be that supportive parent. I really liked it. It felt like a Father's Day film almost. Like, not in a bad way, but in just a, like, I don't think that we get that relationship displayed a lot between, like, a father and their daughter. It's becoming more
on TV, I want to say.
Yeah.
Because they have more time to actually care about that in the movies. Although you could argue that the Guardians of the Galaxy are about finding a new family.
You could.
But you have that galaxy scale that's changing everything, and this...
The interpersonal relationships, I don't feel they're as strong in Guardians, and I don't know if it's the writing or if it's the scale of the story and they don't focus on them that much.
Well, you have Ego on one hand, and then you had I forgot his name.
Kurt Russell.
the other father figure for Quill. Damn it, I'm having...
Yeah, so am I, because I know exactly what you're saying.
His two father figures... Yes, his two father figures are just pretty out there. They're not necessarily reliable, and not everyone has a biological father who's an actual planet. So you can't really relate to that.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, so he wants to use me because he killed all my siblings. Oh, I get that. I get that. I totally empathize with you.
Yeah.
Right. And this was very sort of just like every day.
Yeah, and what I loved was, like you said, Scott is really a good dad, and you could see in the first movie that he's honest with his daughter.
Yeah.
She's very young, but he tries to not get her in trouble and not put any burden on her, but she finds out the truth, and he's okay with it. There's an honesty, and I love that it makes his relationship with her and with her mother and her stepfather even better, because they get along so well now. That's so refreshing.
Oh my god, that wonderful representation of co-parenting. Can we just talk about that? It makes me so happy. Like, I was like when they're all hugging and they're all getting along, I was like, yes, like, I'm not saying that all divorced couples, that's how it's gonna go.
No, but to be fair, if my family was Paul Rudd, Judah Greer, and Bobby Cannavale, I would be hugging them all the time. Like,
true. We'll figure this out. Yeah, but I just like the idea that you can... I don't feel that you see that a lot anywhere, whether on the big screen or the small screen. Like, look,
Black Lightning.
Yeah, but neither one of
TV,
them. But neither one of them has another long-term partner.
They don't have
and that's the difference.
But they are a divorced couple co-parenting who are just getting along and making things easier for each other, and that was so refreshing to see.
But even that, you're naming one. But I think even then, it's still different from seeing like partners who, like ex-partners who have full lives outside of each other, who have partners who are long-term, not just dating, but long-term partners.
That might be, but it's not coming up for sure.
And they've just like made a family together.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I don't think it's unrealistic. I just think it's not something that like culture or pop television ever really displays. And I like that because also then you get the juxtaposition of like the strict biological family, right, with like the Pims, basically, like the three Pims, and you get that nice shot at the end where they're all sitting doing the sciencey stuff before Scott goes into the tunnel. Yes, I said sciencey stuff, but you know what I mean? Exactly, magic. Yeah, like I love that. Like, it doesn't have to be biology to be family, and I think this film, better than any of the others in the MCU, really shows that. Because, I mean...
Yeah, they did make a point to highlight this good relationship, especially from the one before, because Scott was blamed a lot for being a criminal, for going to jail, for not taking care of his daughter for years, and the stepfather was... He was there, but there was some tension of how Scott was feeling replaced, and now it's like, no, you know what, it's been a couple years. Yes. And now we understand you've changed, and now we all get along. Character growth. And we all like each other, and there's no pettiness.
No.
And it is really refreshing.
Yeah, I love the fact there is no pettiness. Like, it's like there's genuine affection between all of them, and I thought that was great. And I don't know if it's the writing, if it's the acting, if it's all of it, but it definitely worked. And it also set a really nice sort of like standard, because that's sort of the first scene that you see that's like a family picture, right? Because it's him with his little girl going down the slide in the house, and then them coming to pick her up, and they're all like, we're so excited for you, hugging, and it just sort of sets like, this is family, and then it just sort of goes from there on.
And he's in house arrest.
Yeah.
And it's not that they don't care, but it's like, we don't hold it against you, we don't feel like this is really annoying, like, you can't even come with us or take care of your daughter. We're, like, playing around it.
Yeah, they're just like, right, well, we're just going to bring her here to stay with you. Yeah. Like, it was great, and I don't know if they made it so upbeat because they were trying to sort of, like, go against all the negativity and the ups and emotional ups and downs of Avengers, or if that's just where the writer was coming from, but either way, I think it worked really, really well.
I don't know how... I didn't check. I don't know how Peyton Reed, how much he was implicated in the writing, but we all know he came later on the first Ant-Man.
Yes.
Because it was Edgar Wright who wrote a lot of stuff. They kept some versions, I think, of his drafts. So it was not completely Peyton Reed's movie. And maybe that's why we're seeing a change. Maybe his voice is just different from Edgar Wright and anybody else. Like, he had time to think over and get to know his characters.
That's true.
Because I can even feel it in the relationship between Hank and Hope.
Yes.
It was a little bit cringy in the first one. They were sort of trying to find an excuse for Scott to be hired and get the suit. Because Hope was the most qualified. She had the knowledge, all that. And it was, no, I'm a protective daddy, so no, we need this guy to get in the suit. And it was sort of BS excuse. And they had a weird relationship.
It also didn't make sense because she had been trained. He had trained her to wear the suit, but then he needed Hank to wear the suit. And I was like... literally doesn't make sense when she's training him. Like, do you all like it? I was like, y'all needed to, definitely a better excuse.
It was too heavy on them. Like, he was overprotective and also lying to her for decades, and she had resentment, and they didn't have a good relationship. It was not healthy. In this one, it's all like, we both have a goal, the same goal of finding mom, and we're getting along, and there's no stupid overprotectiveness over his grown-up daughter, who's very capable.
Right. Which also, who he knows how capable she is, but yet, like, it's too dangerous. And I was like, that's real thin, y'all.
It was like, Scott, be serious, but the rest was just like, go Hope, be my superhero, like, do your job, you're doing great, and you're doing your thing, and it's like, you're the new generation, it's like...
I was really happy to see that change. And you're right, I don't know if that is because, like, this is just a different director who's taking it in a different direction.
not a different director, but just like he got full control from the beginning this time. He actually knew his characters,
and it was great.
And he knew his actors, and I
feel like also like there was there was a definitive message, which I don't feel like the last one sort of like was. It was an origin story, yet not an origin story, yet it was a family story. Like, it didn't really go. And this one, I feel like it had a message. It was like, we want to do this, this, and this. We're going to accomplish it with this, this, and this. And I didn't feel like there were a bunch of loose ends or, like, loopholes that didn't make sense or, like, BS motivations for things, which I felt in the last one there definitely were. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first one, but, it was not that... It wasn't really necessarily a good film. I just enjoyed it. But this one I thought was a good film, and I enjoyed it. Also, shout out to whoever choreographed all those fights. I'm sorry I didn't see your name in the credits.
Oh, yeah.
But those fights were gorgeous. They were gorgeous. And
inventive.
They were so inventive. That fight, particularly in the kitchen, I've been wanting to see that one for a while.
The one we've seen in the trailers.
I know. But the fact that I had seen it so much in the trailers, and when you see it on the big screen, you're still as stuck with it, is like, oh yeah, that's a good fight. Because I could watch this over and over again. Like, I wanted to see, like, how'd she get from A to B? And, like, do you know? That's what I felt like. So I really enjoyed that.
And if you think about it, it's mostly Hope.
Oh, completely.
Who's using that technology in that way of shrinking and making bigger objects. I feel like it's great that it's not just a trick that even Scott is using, because she's more used to that technology than he is. So they should have different styling.
They definitely should.
Fights.
Yes. Which I loved also because you see it in... It's not until the very last scene when they're fighting Ava in the lab when they're in the middle of a fight and Scott goes small and big and sort of tries to mimic what Hope does. But before that, he never does that. So he's basically watching Hope and like learning as he watches her. And I liked seeing that.
Also, it makes sense because his suit was not really working well for most of the movie.
Exactly. Right. So, but I love that. Like, you see that he's, like, learning as he watches. Like, Hope trained him to get where he is now, and he's still learning from her. I mean, because she's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Which is also why her not getting the suit in the first one made less sense. But whatever. We'll forgive that. We'll move past that.
Look, I'm gonna get a bunch of angry fanboys, but I really like Edgar Wright, but let's be honest, he always has the one female character.
Yeah, I'm about to say that myself.
Like the Smurfette.
Completely.
And she's often very good and like so intelligent, and everybody's like, yeah, strong female character, except a bit like Hermione, is still the guy who gets the credits. And yet she's still the only one existing. And in this movie, we get more than one woman, and nobody is just here to
and a woman of color.
Somebody else.
Woo-woo. Yeah,
they all have an actual role to play.
Yes.
They're all existing with their own agency.
Completely.
It's just.
It was so.
It's different.
Yeah, sure. It was so much better. It was different and it was better. I'm not even gonna like.
Well, yeah. Well, it's it matters more to us for sure.
Yeah. No, that's very true. I did want to talk about Ava though, because one thing that struck me when I was talking about when I was watching Ava is that she talked about pain, and I wish we had somebody to talk about this. And please, if you're listening and you have thoughts on it, I'd love to hear what you have to say. But I actually know several friends who suffer from chronic pain, and I have done so for years. And I've been with them when they've been having bad days, and just the idea, like, they'll do whatever they can just to stop it. And I felt that Ava did that very well, but also where there's a point where, like, they get so desperate, the people around them don't really know how to help them. Like, I've watched friends go through that, and I felt that they were sort of trying to touch on that idea of, like, ableism and how, like, it needs more attention, or people who suffer from it. Like, it's not just, like, the physical aspect of it, but it's also the emotional aspect. It's the long-term sort of, like, toll it takes on you, like, emotionally, and also on your other relationships. And I thought Ava was sort of a good stand-in for that, or what's the word that I want? Like...
Avatar?
No, not Avatar. Coded. Like, she was a good coded character for ableism. And once again, that's also only speaking about, like, physical pain. But I like the idea that at the end, she gets healed, and then it's not like they kill her. Wasn't the solution, basically.
That's a nice
Their
change.
solution is that they're actually going to heal her and then be like, all right, you're free. Now that you actually can enjoy your life, go be you. I liked that.
It's a little bit magic. You wonder what Janet
I'm excited
can do. Like, can she actually
yes, I'm so excited
cure the entire world?
What can Janet do? What can Janet do? I'm so excited to see. Also, I love the fact that, like, Janet has all these powers and it's embodied in an older woman. Can I just throw that out there? Yeah, they aged Michelle Pfeiffer up. But she still looks awesome, and then that she's still, like, capable, and she's there doing her sciencey stuff. Then she has her magic evolution stuff that she does to cure Ava. I just love the fact that it's this older woman now who's like, no, I know ABCD. I have this. I got my shit together. Like, yeah, I was 30 years in some unknown zone, and I still got it together.
But she should not be curing the world. Like, she has so many hours on Netflix to get to.
Really?
Yeah, that's what
they gotta teach you all this new tech. You have to watch Netflix and Hulu. Yes, that's what she would come back to do.
It's like, girl, we have better meds or better TV than 30 years ago.
I mean, like, I don't even know. I don't remember what type of doctor she was, actually.
I'm not sure if they actually say it. It's Scientist. You put quantum in the word quantum in front of everything.
Quantum scientist. Yeah, basically. So she wouldn't necessarily be, like, curing things. I guess she'd probably be doing whatever they're doing now. I mean, and science takes forever.
We've been spoiling the entire movie, so let's get straight to the chase. But now she's not doing anything because she's killed by Thanos.
I know. Which, once again, I'm totally here for this storyline, and I'm gonna let it play out because I don't feel like this movie left any loose ends.
No.
So I feel like it was
a nice self-contained story.
Exactly. So I feel like this will be solved, like, when all the other ones are solved. I am very interested to see how Marvel does this, because that is a lot of cast in one film. Because, like, what are you gonna do? Have, like, one film where all these people reappear again? Like, I mean,
it might be just quick shots of some of the actors. Michelle Pfeiffer just gets
the reunion ones. Yeah.
Things like that.
Right. I'm just interested, but for now, I still feel that Marvel is on track. They're doing well. I think this film was definitely another very strong entry for them.
Even if it wasn't, they'll still be making money, so...
I mean, that's true, but I think it's nice that the quality of their films hasn't lagged, even though they know people will still go see them.
Yeah.
Because I felt like they were getting a little bit sloppy when they did the last Iron Man, and I think they got some pushback for it, and they're like, no, we need to keep it up. So I'm happy that since then, I feel like they have continued to keep up the quality.
Still controversial. A lot of people are putting the third Iron Man among their favorites.
I know, and I will never understand why, particularly if nothing else, because of treatment of Pepper Potts, but, whatever.
Different standards. I mean,
I would agree.
I would say I heard that from my cis, straight, white male friends.
So maybe that's...
So they might not care about that aspect. I know when we discuss what matters and what touched us in some movies, like, it's not always the same things, which is normal.
I mean, that's true, because even in Ant-Man, we've been talking about, like, the father-daughter relationship, the representation of women, my love that there's a woman of color.
I was like dead on the Wasp. Like, the Wasp was my hero.
Right, exactly. The fact that now there are more women in this universe now, which makes it even better, because the Ant-Man universe needed more women, but Marvel universe as a whole needed more women, and now we have like 4 if you want to count little baby Cassie. Like, so...
And women of color, because that was a bunch of white women.
Yeah, I mean, there's still only, like, between, like, Ava and this one, and then the entire beautiful cast of Black Panther, right. Like, we're finally getting some diversity, so we're finally getting more women. So you're right, I think the things that matter to us are different, but I'm happy to see that Marvel, in some way, is trying to, like, listen. Even if it's really, really slowly... they're still trying to do better. So I will give credit where it's due.
Yeah, let's encourage.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt to encourage.
Yeah.
If DC would like to do the same, I'd really like to encourage you as well. I don't know if I'm going to pay for 2 freaking Joker films, but I'd like to encourage you as well.
Marvel got it. It starts behind the screen. It's not just in front of it. It starts behind.
Yeah.
Just a quick thing, but you made me think about it. I know I had some sort of a scare when we realized Bill was working with Ava, and they were linked. I was like, please don't make it that white family against the black family.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was just like, it was more of a gray area, like in those relationships, and it was more complicated, and nobody was really a villain in there, so I was like, whew!
No, I mean, it definitely, I would agree with that.
What a relief.
I mean, I was worried that they're going to be like, and then Bill is her father, or some, like, and I was like, why? Because they're the only 2 black people in your movie? Yeah, I was on the same page. So, I was very happy that was not it. It was just more like, she didn't have anybody else, and Pym wasn't there helping anybody, so she went to the next expert, basically, who knew her dad, which I was like, okay.
He went to her.
I am okay with that, right. I was like, okay, I get that. So yeah, I thought this movie was great. Women everywhere, a woman of color, also badass. Check out her show on Sci-Fi Channel. She's amazing. Killjoys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Killjoys.
I'm still not caught up on Killjoys, but I have to.
Everybody watch Killjoys. We're gonna do a episode about Killjoys in the future, because it is the epitome of awesomeness, as it should be, and it's not only led by, but it's also written by women. So yay, more women. Exactly. So Ant-Man, family, women, people of color. I'm gonna say coded ableism, and just great characters, and like. Even if you're doing what you want, and, you should still have barriers. Although the government is obviously always wrong. All right. So,
are you talking about Killjoys or Ava?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I get lost.
It's okay. All right. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, go see it if you haven't.
Yes.
At least it's 2 hours of entertainment and air conditioning.
Too true. I didn't even realize it was 2 hours, actually.
Yeah, I'm not...
Like, it didn't feel like it dragged for me.
No.
Yeah.
There was a lot of rhythm, never boring, and I forgot his name, but Scott's best friend is still awesome.
Oh my gosh, he's amazing.
He is still awesome.
Yes. That is very true. Even the secondary characters were really awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the wonders that I have to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed our discussion of Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp. I do know the actual title. Thank you again to my lovely aquatic guest,
Well, thank you
Ariel.
for having me.
Thank you. And to continue the discussion with us or give us any feedback on our thoughts, you can find me on Twitter at Tanagra, GGNOC. And where can they find you?
I'm sorry, I'm not on Twitter.
All right. Well, then, if you have any thoughts for Ariel, just at me, at Tanagra, GGNOC, and say they're for Ariel. You can find us on Anchor and RadioPublic for all you Android users, and on iTunes and Overcast for all you iThings users. You can also listen to us while watching an amazing slideshow on YouTube. Leave us a message. Thanks for joining. Make choices, and please, please don't follow that.